Hello and welcome back to Friday Night Football. I'm Joe Viscioni as the Lexington Minutemen are set to take on the Woburn Sanders. Coming into this game, the Minutemen are 4-2, sitting atop a 3-game winning streak in which last week they knocked off Belmont 35-14. And that game was led by Bianchi, and everything started with him as he had 3 passing touchdowns and 2 rushing touchdowns, responsible for 100% of the touchdowns scored, so we'll expect to see a lot from him tonight. And on the other side of the turf, the Woburn Sanders last week, 28-7 victory over the Wakefield Warriors, in which the running back Alexander Ludwig rushed for 144 yards and 1 touchdown. We'll see how this offense tries to respond to this highly touted Minutemen offense and defense. Set to kick this one off is the Woburn Sanders. And while we're talking about the Woburn Sanders, they've struggled so far this year. And while the Lexington Minutemen have not 3-2 in their own division, this game carries significant importance, as with a victory, the Minutemen would lock up second place in their division and most likely home field advantage. Back deep, set to return this one is Matt Pusateri, the free safety and running back. Here's the kick. Returned up around the 30-yard line. Has a head of steam is number 15, Mason Hatfield, who gets down near the 35-yard line. Good return from him. And now jogging onto the field for the Lexington High School Minutemen football team is Anthony Bianchi, the quarterback who had such a sensational year so far. 16 total touchdowns in the last 3 games for him, and he has been responsible for 100% of that, as he's rushed for 7 and thrown for 9. Here's Bianchi dropping back. He's going to run it. Bianchi, plenty of time, fires downfield. That pass is nearly caught. Looked to be dropped as number 40, Joe Tibbles, could not hold on to that. And Tibbles last week had a 14-yard touchdown reception in his game against the Belmont Marauders. Nearly connected on that one, which would have been a huge gain for the offense. And Tibbles as the slot receiver on that play. If he could just beat his man off the line of scrimmage and nearly make a catch like that, you're not going to get too many second chances. 5 receiver set here for Bianchi. Dropping back, looking across the middle. That pass is firing and incomplete, intended for number 15, Mason Hatfield. Good coverage by number 84 of the Tanners, Alec Cruz, the junior defensive back, breaking up the pass. So that's going to bring up a 3rd and long for this Minutemen offense after failing to complete on the last 2 passes. Here's the Tanners in a 3-man defensive front. And in the backfield, here comes Bianchi, rolling to his right, fires downfield. That pass is caught, looks to be just over the first down marker, as Bianchi completes to Merceth, the wide receiver, picking up the first down and moving the chains for the first time of the night. Dropping back, here's the pitch over to his man Hatfield, who jumps outside and tackled by the legs. Hatfield on the carry. That was a great stop by the defensive back, by Wilson, and that's going to bring up a 2nd and 5 for the offense. Wide receivers in the game include Gabe Van Eman. Here's Bianchi. He's going to carry it himself. Punches outside. Nearly dropped. Escaping back inside, picking up the first down, and brought just short of the 40-yard line. Great extra effort from the quarterback, showing off those legs and moving the pile for another Minutemen first down. So trips formation to the left, 3 receivers on that side, 1 to the right. Has Hatfield in the backfield with him, trying to adjust his quarterback's helmet and get him all set for the remainder of this possession. Here's Bianchi. Gives it over to Hatfield, who jump cuts into the middle. Hatfield still on his feet, and he's pushed out of bounds across near the 25-yard line. Great carry from him, picking up first down yardage. So picking up about 15 yards on that effort. That's going to bring up another first down for the Minutemen here at Harold Crum Field. And if you're tuning into this game, the Minutemen could definitely use a victory here, as it would most likely secure home field advantage in the playoffs. Now here's Bianchi. He's going to run it himself up the middle and is stopped just around the 25-yard line near the breast cancer awareness marker. And this Minutemen offense being very highly touted, as we mentioned, in the last 3 games, scoring 16 total touchdowns. Here's dropping back, feeling the blitz, is Bianchi. He's going to run it himself, avoids the first hit, and is going to be dropped just around the 20-yard line. Good extra effort from him, keeping the chains rolling as he looks to be short of the first down, and that's going to bring up a 3rd and short. Bianchi has Hatfield to his right. Good to see him dropping back. 2 receivers each side. Flag on the field. Here's Bianchi, and he is dropped from behind. Good pressure around the edges by the Tanners, and that results in a sack. But let's wait on the call from the referee. And that is going to be against the Tanners. Five-yard penalty again. So 5-yard encroachment penalties is going to gift the Minutemen a first down for this drive. Here's Bianchi, has 4 receivers, 3 to the left. Hand off to Hatfield on the draw. Hatfield making a man miss, turning the corner, and he is in for the touchdown as the Minutemen strike first in the ball game, going up 6-0 on the Woburn Tanners, all off of Mason Hatfield on that carry. And with just 8:12 remaining in the first quarter, the Minutemen strike first as Bianchi applauds in happiness. Now coming on to attempt this kick is number 11, Duncan Hewitt. Good to see him coming back after a lower leg injury. Last week went 3 for 4 on extra point attempts. And this one is up and nowhere near a line drive kick. Sailing a couple feet under the uprights, as that will make the score 6-0 in favor of the Minutemen. 3 men back deep for the Tanners on this 6 o'clock Friday night, as this one is going to be a bit of a squib, nearly mishandled, as the Tanners are going to recover it with a bit of space before being dropped across the 25-yard line and down near the 30. That was number 2, Dylan Thompson, the junior wide receiver and defensive back on the return, as he starts out with decent field position for the Tanners. And jogging onto the field is this Woburn offense, which last week mustered up 4 total scores, 28-7 victory over the Wakefield Warriors, in which their star running back, number 31, Ryan Ludwig, rushed for 144 yards and 1 touchdown. Let's see what the Minutemen can do to stop that. Here's the carry by Quayle, the quarterback. He takes a low hit before being dropped across the 35-yard line. Good tackle up the middle from the Minutemen. And it's going to be really important for this Lexington team to clog up those running lanes early in this game, as we've seen throughout the season that the Tanners are a very much power, run it up your throat type of team. And if they can clog those holes, they'll really force Woburn to do things that they're not used to. 4 receiver set, dropping back. Here's the carry up to Ludwig, and he is dropped behind the line of scrimmage. Great effort and tackle there made by the Minutemen. That was a great tackle led by the Minutemen, and that's going to force a 3rd and long for the Tanners. A 6 o'clock Friday night football game, as other games around the league. We'll get to that soon. In the nickelback defensive formation, dropping back. Here's Quayle. Quayle's going to run it himself using those legs, setting up some blockers, and he's wrapped up despite picking up the first down. Quayle showing that he can run too, just like Bianchi in front of him. down to the 45-yard line of the Tanners. So while this game is going, other games that are going on in this division and league is the Brewington Red Devils taking on the 3-3 Melrose Red Raiders. The 6-0 Stoneham Spartans taking on the 3-4 Wilmington Wildcats. The 1-6 Wakefield Warriors at the 1-5 Watertown Red Raiders. The 6-1 Reading Rockets at the 4-2 Winchester Sachems. That pass is aired downfield to Quayle, and that pass is caught down by the 10-yard line. Great reception made. Beating number 21 in coverage, Matt Pusateri. As Alec Cruz comes up with a gem on that reception, pushing the yardage closer and closer towards the Minutemen end zone. As the Tanners pick up a first down. Now, two receivers to the left. Here's the handoff over to Thompson, and he's going to be wrapped up short of the first down out across near the 15-yard line on the carry. Good try, and it's going to be interesting to see what this Tanners red zone offense does. At least not at the high school level, but especially at the college and NFL level. Teams have really struggled at getting into the end zone from this short yardage situation, so it'll be interesting to see what the Tanners can muster up from this distance. And Quayle, the quarterback, trying to galvanize the troops. Has a man in motion in the backfield is number 12. Here's the handoff to his man around the right corner, and he is wrapped up. Number 6, Arthur Amaro on the carry. As the ball looked to be popping loose at the end. Is that a throw? And at the end of that play, it looked like the Minutemen forced a turnover, and that's going to be a fumble as they recover close to their own end zone. Great play from this defense, forcing the first turnover of this ball game, and that's something that the Minutemen have been lacking so far this season. A dominant defense that can turn the ball over, especially in these short yardage situations near your own red zone. Now back onto the field with his offense in a 4-receiver set is Bianchi. Has Hatfield in the backfield with him as well. Dropping back. Here's the quarterback keeper play, and he goes about nowhere, just to the 5-yard line, picking up maybe 1 on that play.
So you got that, you're good.
Ryan Quayle was the ball carrier.
So here's Bianchi dropping back, looking to his right on the bootleg. He's going to run it himself instead, using those legs. And he's wrapped up past the 10-yard line by number 2, Dylan Thompson, who had that big reception that went almost 60 yards rather, making the tackle and trying to get his team back on pace. Here's Bianchi. 3-receiver set to the left. Fakes it on the wide receiver screen over to his man. Number 40 breaking loose. Has a couple men to beat and forced out of bounds across the 45-yard line. Great catch and run by Joe Tibbles, who continues to stretch the field and have himself a day on that reception. Had the drop earlier around this part of the field that would have came up for big yardage. Nonetheless, redeems himself and picks up the big gain for this Minutemen offense. In the no huddle, here's Hatfield on the carry. Hatfield turning up the jets and into the secondary before being wrapped around and tripped up low by number 60 on the Tanners. Nonetheless, just short of the first. As we have a flag on the field, looks to be against the Minutemen. So holding, 10-yard penalty negating that last play, and that's going to force the Minutemen to unfortunate field position, bringing up a 1st and 20, repeat the first down for Lexington. So after that big gain by Hatfield, it's going to be turned over as Bianchi trying to get the play call from his head coach, George Peterson. And has 4 receivers into the game. One of them is Gabe Van Ammen, the slot receiver, but the ball popped loose and Bianchi jumps on top of it before being surrounded by number 45, Anthony Morales, the senior linebacker, swarming over to try to pressure Bianchi to run with it. Nonetheless, takes the knee, and that's going to stop it with even longer field position. As they're going to be, this is going to bring up a 2nd and 25. Let's see what the Minutemen play to do to make this play manageable. Dropping back, here's Bianchi, has the pressure up the middle. He's going to roll to his left, and he is sacked, wrapped up around the edges. Great pressure provided by, I believe, number 5, Simon Sathler, along with number 81, Bruce McNeil. It's pretty tough to see jerseys from here, especially when they don't have positions on the roster. Nonetheless, that was a great tackle for loss and sack. Now dropping back, here's Hatfield on the carry, picking up some extra yards. As a block, Hatfield near first down yardage. He got the first down and more into the secondary. Big gain from Mason Hatfield as the Minutemen pick up more yardage and into Tanner territory. And a great run by Hatfield. Had a fantastic kick out block on the outside, and his guards gave him the running lane up the middle. Here's Hatfield again on the carry. Bounces back inside before being tripped up past the 25-yard line. Decent pickup from him, about 3 or 4 yards. As we talked about earlier, other games, the 1-5 Arlington Spy Finders are taking on the 3-3 Belmont Marauders tonight. Last week, of course, Lexington won. Now here's Bianchi dropping back, has extra protection. He's going to roll to his right, heave it towards the end zone, and that pass is incomplete, but easily flags on the field. Going to be a pass interference against the Tanners, most definitely, as it was thrown in the direction of Duncan Hewitt, who drew those flags. Let's wait to see what the referee says, but I'm 98% certain it's in the secondary, and it is against the Tanners. So offsetting flags there, so would have been a pass interference, but nonetheless a holding penalty against the Minutemen is going to negate that play, and that's going to bring up another 2nd down, so that play falls incomplete as Bianchi gets to survey the field yet again. 3 receiver set over to the right. Here's Bianchi on the carry himself up the middle, turning on the jukes, and he is down near the 15-yard line. Good carry from him as this Minutemen offense tries to secure another big play to punch it into the end zone for the 2nd time of the quarter. And as the announcer and myself are in surprise, the chain gang confirms it as the Minutemen pick up the 1st down on that play as a timeout is on the field. And now back onto the field in the LexMedia Sports. That pass is fired, incomplete, intended for number 12. Good coverage there. That was Gabe Van Ammen, the intended receiver, who's slow to get up. After the timeout, if you're just tuning in, I'm Joe Viscioni, alongside nobody, running both color and play-by-play responsibilities in this game, as Van Ammen is shaken, hobbling off the sideline. Looks to be a lower leg injury. Not very good to see from him, as he has been everywhere, offensively and defensively, especially his contributions coming defensively, playing that great nickel corner role. Here's Bianchi nonetheless. He's going to give it over to Hatfield. Hatfield bouncing outside and wrapped up. Great tackle made by, I believe, number 7, Danny Cavino. I could be wrong. Nonetheless, great tackle made in the secondary by the Tanners, picking up 1 yard, so that's going to bring up a 3rd and 9 for the Minutemen with just about 1 minute remaining. Here's Bianchi, fakes it. He's going to roll to his left, using those legs that he's so good. Turning on the jets and down inside the 5-yard line, taking the low hit and lowering the shoulder. And that's going to bring up a 1st and goal for the Minutemen here at Harold Crum Field. As the clock continues to roll. With a 6-point lead, here's Bianchi trying to muster up another touchdown drive for his team. This drive has lasted over 5 minutes. Dropping back, here's the handoff to Hatfield up the middle, trying for his 2nd score of the day. As the referees confirm him to be just a yard short of reaching the end zone. As a substitution is coming in, as Hatfield jogging off the field. Number 28, Luke Butler, coming into this game. Known primarily as being their star middle linebacker and sometimes a fullback, is going to get the snap in the red zone. Expect this play to go to him. Nonetheless, here's Bianchi. He's going to run it into the end zone. Plenty of blocking room and running room for him as he scores as the Minutemen strike for their 2nd touchdown of the quarter, making the score 12-0 in favor of Lexington here at Harold Crum Field. And a great drive, great play right there to punch the ticket and get it into the end zone. A little bit of a tricky deception there by George Peterson, changing out the running backs and putting in number 28, Luke Butler, known primarily as blocking, and really making a nice peel-off block on the right side and allowing that play to set up. Now here's Bianchi. He's going to roll to his right, fires towards the back of the end zone, and that pass is tipped, nearly caught, and that falls short as the Minutemen do not convert on the 2-point conversion. Their 2nd failed point after attempt of the ball game. Now here's Duncan Hewitt, who is 0 for 1 on extra points tonight. And in the last 2 games is 3 for 5 in that department, as Peterson tried to shake things up earlier in the ball game and just go for a 2-point conversion. Either have yet to work. Now here's Hewitt, kicking back deep to 3 people. High end-over-end kick to the ref's left sideline near the 20. Plenty of running room and tackled out of bounds near the 30-yard line. Good return for the Tanners, setting up decent field position for this offense that struggled to go anywhere earlier in the 1st quarter. So Tibbles making the stop, and with just 15 seconds remaining in the quarter, this Tanner offense jogs onto the field, led by number 12, Ryan Quayle. Quayle's not had the most fantastic game, especially statistically, in this ball game so far. Along with the whole Tanner offense, they've completed very few amount of passes and fumbled the ball once already. Man in motion is number 34. Here's the handoff on the fake to the quarterback, who takes it up the middle and gets tackled for about a 1 or 2 yard gain. Led by number 65, Johnny Bachman. And that's the end of the 1st quarter, as the Lexington Minutemen lead 12-0 here at Harold Crum Field. I've been Joe Viscioni, and we'll see you at the start of the 2nd quarter.
All across America, the NFL and United Way are inspiring kids to get healthy and more active. Join us. Find ways to help kids in your neighborhood at liveunited.org/healthykids.
All right, welcome back to Minutemen 2nd quarter action. I'm Joe Viscioni alongside Nobody, as the Lexington Minutemen currently lead 12-0 over the Woburn Tanners here in lovely Lexington, Massachusetts, at the campus of Lexington High School, and this game so far has been dominated by the Minutemen here in the 1st half. Tanners. Now here's Quayle dropping back. Quayle has some pressure, running to his right, surveying the field, firing downfield, and that pass looks to be intercepted in the secondary. Great play by number 11, Duncan Hewitt on the ball. Nonetheless, flag onto the field. And looks to be against the Minutemen. If the play stands, it would be their second forced turnover of the half. So that's going to be an illegal push and use of the hands in the back. And Woburn will pick up an automatic first down on that play. 5-yard penalty as Duncan Hewitt nearly got his first interception of the season. Nonetheless, the Tanners get a streak of luck. Now here's dropping back. Is Quayle trying to use his legs, firing downfield once again, and that pass sails incomplete, out of bounds across the face of number 21, Matt Pusateri, in the secondary, as Quayle had nothing there that time. And that's going to bring up a 2nd and 10 from for the Tanners. The Tanners yet to score in this ball game, as this Minuteman defense has been doing as promised. In the last 3 games, the Minutemen defense have not allowed more than 21 points, so definitely an impressive suit. And making the tackle behind the line of scrimmage is the Minutemen, led by number 59 on the tackle, Boo Vernett, the junior linebacker, swooping over sideline to sideline and making the tackle behind the line of scrimmage. That's going to bring up a 3rd and 12. So the Lexington making a substitution, taking their star defensive tackle, Zhao Z, off the field for more of a pass rushing unit. 3-man defensive front. Dropping back, late blitz. Here's Quayle. Quayle stepping up, and he is going to be dropped. Great pressure. Nonetheless, a flag is on the field. Let's wait to see what the call is. Great tackle made there by the Minutemen, led by Masay Mursef on the tackle. 6'1", 200 pounds, could not escape the grasp of Masay Mursef. Nonetheless, there's a flag on the play, a holding call against the Tanners, as Peterson declines that call, and that's going to bring up a 4th down as the special teams unit comes onto the field to punt this one away. Single man back deep for the Minutemen is Hatfield. Here's the punt. Line drive kick, has plenty of distance. Hatfield takes the bounce, is going to run it. And he is wrapped up short of the 20-yard line. Great special teams play by the Tanners. Leading the effort was number 2, Dylan Thompson, making his presence felt everywhere tonight. Defense, special teams, and on offense, of course. Nonetheless, this Lexington Minutemen offense jogs onto the field after 2 successful drives that ended in failed point-after attempts. And that's been the one Minutemen struggle on the season so far, as they have failed to score on the point-after attempts. Now here's the 4-man rush. Dropping back is Bianchi. Couldn't escape from that one, and he is dropped across the 20-yard line. Decent carry from him, picking up about 1 or 2 yards on the draw. And as I spoke about it earlier in the game, it's definitely good to see Matt Hatfield get into the end zone, as that player earlier in the game for the touchdown was the first running back that scored a touchdown rushing in the last 4 weeks. So definitely good to see the Minutemen get something going, as teams will figure out in the future to lock up Bianchi and make other players on this field beat you, as that pass sails incomplete, intended for his man. Nonetheless, a flag is on the field. Let's wait to see what the call is. Looks to be against the Minutemen. So Lexington gets hit with a 5-yard penalty, illegal shift. And that's going to bring up a second down. Here's Bianchi surveying the field. Nickelback defense for the Tanners. Rolling to his right. Fires on the screen over to Tibbles. And Tibbles escapes out of bounds across the 25-yard line. Nearly tackled. Decent yardage gain from him. And that's going to bring up a 3rd and short for Lexington. And it's interesting to see what Peterson is going to be doing, as the first half was very much ball control and then fire it downfield using those play action passes. So far, early in the second quarter, it's been a lot of just attacking with those quick 5 or 6 yard passes down the field. With 8:36 remaining in the quarter here at Harold Crum Field, the Lexington Minutemen have a 12-0 lead over their opponents, the 3-3 Woburn Tanners, who have not looked too hot this season. Of course, their last game convincing otherwise, 28-7 victory over the Warriors in Wakefield. Here's the Tanners showing a loaded defensive front, 4 linebackers in the prevent style. Here's Bianchi, has an extra man spying him, and he is dropped. Nonetheless, fast first down yardage as Bianchi picks up the first for the Minutemen using those legs. And the Minutemen not changing their offensive formation. 4 receiver set, 1 man in the backfield. Continues to be Hatfield. Now on the carry, Hatfield dropped past the 40-yard line, down at about the 41 on that carry. Picks up 2 or 3 yards at the best for the Minutemen. So Hatfield having a big game for the Lexington offense so far. Back to the man who's done it a lot tonight, making a spin move and dropped inside the 45-yard line. Good play made behind the line of scrimmage, and then a second effort to free up some extra space and get to the 45 from Mason Hatfield. And it's interesting to see Hatfield as a running back in this game, as he's a sophomore. And it looks like we have flag on the field. That's going to be a personal foul against Woburn and a personal foul against Lexington. They're offsetting penalties, so that's going to result in no change of yardage. Both players will be warned for getting into that extra scuffle. Now facing a 3rd and 2. Here's Bianchi in the shotgun, has Hatfield to his left. 4 receiver set, split out even on both sides. Here's Hewitt in motion. Hewitt drops the ball on the jet sweep, and he's going to be wrapped up short of the line of scrimmage. What would have been a nice trick play for a gain turns into a 4th down as the Tanners get lucky on the miscommunication error between Duncan Hewitt and Anthony Bianchi. So 4th down for Lexington as the Minutemen stay on the field and trying to go on this conversion. Let's see. Loading up the line of scrimmage. Here's Bianchi. He's going to rush it himself, lowering the shoulder. Looks to be near the line of scrimmage. Let's see where they are going to spot him on this one. The knee was down shorter. No, he is good for the first down as the Minutemen move the chains. Great play by Bianchi. Really putting the ball out in front of him and extending for extra yardage. Nonetheless, bringing up a new fresh set of downs, 1st and 10 for Lexington. Now back on the field, 3 receivers to the right. Joe Tibbles, Duncan Hewitt, and Merceth now dropping back. Here is Bianchi on the carry, and he's wrapped up, picking up the first down and more. Nonetheless, flag is on the field. Let's see who the penalty is going to be on. And that's going to be a holding penalty against the Minutemen, 10-yard penalty. Unfortunate, as I believe it was Hatfield who had the last carry. The quarterback took a play off as the Minutemen ran a play in the Wildcat. So 1st and 13 for Lexington. With plenty of support, here's Bianchi in front of Lexington High School, dropping back on the carry. Here's over to Hatfield. Hatfield with a head of steam and wrapped up across the 45-yard line. Good carry from him, making it 2nd and manageable. So after the 10-yard gain by Hatfield, tackled by Smith, that's going to bring up a 2nd and 4, 2nd and 3. Now faking it. Here's Bianchi. He's going to run it himself, lowering the shoulder, short of the first down by a couple yards. Good play made in the backfield by the Tanners, led by number 84, Alec Cruz, the junior, who's already had a couple plays across the defensive line tonight, including the only sack of the ball game for this Tanners defense. Trips formation to the right, one receiver to the left. He's dropping back, firing over to Duncan Hewitt on the wide receiver screen, who drops the ball yet again. And Duncan Hewitt on this drive especially is having a nightmare start. Fumbled the jet sweep earlier, and then right again there, dropped the pass in the wide open field. Reminds me of the Patriots' Cordell Patterson. Patterson, someone who's definitely pretty special, can do anything when you get him the ball in the open field, but can never really do it right when it's very easy. Nonetheless, Hewitt came up short there as the Minutemen send on their special teams unit at the 45-yard line to attempt the punt. Two men lined up back to return this one from the Tanners, and looked to almost be a fake as a very high end-over-end punt as that one falls around the 20-yard line. Decent kick, about 25 yards in net distance, as the possession changes over to the Tanners with plenty of time to get on the scoreboard for the first time of the ball game. 4:34 remaining here at Harold Crum Field. If you're just tuning in the game, I'm Joe Viscioni, as the Minutemen have been struggling to get on the scoreboard in the second quarter after putting up 2 consecutive touchdowns in the first quarter. One, a nice run by Mason Hatfield, and the other by their quarterback Anthony Bianchi. Now here's the Tanners, who have yet to score. Here's Quayle. He's going to hand it off to his lead back, Ludwig, lowering the shoulder and taking the hit. Great tackle made behind the line of scrimmage by the Minutemen, as some interior disruption by number 66, Zhao Zi, caused that play to go for nowhere. And then 54, Murray, came over to sweep up, making the tackle, forcing a 2nd and 10, 2nd and 8 rather. Nonetheless, short yardage gain. And here's Quayle getting the call from his offensive coordinator and head coach, John Belcher. Now here's the handoff up the right sideline, lowering the shoulder and down near the 40-yard line. Good carry from Thompson, picking up first down yardage as the clock continues to tick down below 4 minutes. Tackle made by Hewitt in the secondary. And the Tanners with the ball at their own 38-yard line with plenty of time to go to get on the board. Now here's Quayle, has a man in motion, number 13. Here's the handoff over to Thompson, and he's wrapped up near the line of scrimmage before picking up about 3 yards on the carry. So Dylan Thompson picking up a couple yards. It's interesting to see the Tanners not trying to hurry this drive up offensively. It seems like they have a lot of confidence in their offense, especially on this drive, despite scoring 0 points thus far. Three-man rush, delayed. That pass is fired and completed over to number 13. Great tackle made by the Minutemen, number 21, Matt Pusateri, making the tackle on Stefan Kolodko. Pretty tough to pronounce that name. Nonetheless, the clock ticks below 3 minutes at around 2:45 as Quayle tries to galvanize his troops with the ball sitting around the 40-yard line. Facing a 3rd and 6. Here's Quayle. Has 2 running backs with him. 3 receiver set. 4-man rush. Quayle rolls to his right. Has time. Firing downfield, and that pass is broken up. Great, fantastic coverage by Matt Pusateri there, forcing the incompletion and bringing up the 4th down for the Tanners. And Pusateri was able to just stick his hand in at the end and break up that pass, which would have been a 1st down for Thompson. Nonetheless, the Minutemen force a quick defensive stop, and that's going to lead to the punting unit coming onto the field for the Tanners. 1-man set back deep. Here's the punt. Decent leg, good distance to Hatfield, as he's going to turn around, run back to his right sideline. Here's Hatfield with plenty of space and wrapped up across the 25-yard line. Good carry from Hatfield, in which he started with the ball around the 5 or 6 yard line, going in and around and taking it up the field to give the Minutemen decent field position with a bevy of timeouts and plenty of time to get onto the scoreboard for the 3rd time of the ball game. So 9 seconds from the 2-minute warning. Here's Bianchi onto the field after failing to pick up the 1st down on the last possession. Now rolling to his left. Bianchi's going to run it himself and is pushed slightly out of bounds before picking up 0 yards on the carry. Was looking downfield and saw nothing open. Nonetheless, it's going to bring up a 2nd and 10 for the Minutemen. So Hewitt and Merceth, the 2 right receivers, getting the play call from George Peterson, and their routes assigned. Looking downfield before running it himself is Bianchi, diving to pick up an extra yard, and that's going to bring up about a 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9 for the Minutemen, who have been struggling in the 2nd quarter to get on the scoreboard. So 3rd and 1, here's Bianchi with under 2 minutes remaining in the quarter. Man in motion is Tibbles. Fakes it over to Hatfield on the carry, and he's wrapped up past the 31-yard line. So Hatfield slow to get up on that one before getting a hand from the head referee. Nonetheless, timeout on the field by the Tanners to stop the clock at 1:21 remaining in the 2nd quarter. So 2 quick defensive stops from both sides leads to the punt here for the Minutemen as Bianchi with plenty of leg. A very low punt. That ball was fumbled loose and recovered by the Minutemen. Bounced off the chest of the intended receiver of the Tanners and falls right into the lap of number 8, Charles Mabardi, as the Minutemen essentially get the ball with a nice 25-yard gain. 30-yard gain. After the punt, now here's Bianchi with the stroke of luck. He's going to run to his right. Bianchi surveying the field, fires. That pass is caught by Hewitt, his first reception of the game, down across near the 28-yard line as Hewitt gets things going as the Minutemen pick up a first down and more. So no timeout, dropping back. Here's Bianchi. Has a bevy of receivers, 4 downfield, elects to run it himself, using those legs. Bianchi, and he's going to elect to go out of bounds a couple yards short of picking up the first, stopping the clock at 39 seconds, inching closer and closer into Tanner territory.
Second down and 2.
So lacking timeouts is the Minutemen, and it's starting to be a little unfortunate for them when it comes late in the second quarter when you need them the most. Nonetheless, here's Hatfield, has Tibbles in motion, fakes it over to him, has an extra blocker, firing downfield, and that pass goes over the head of his intended receiver, number 11 Duncan Hewitt, as number 32 on Woburn, who was not on the roster, got away with a questionable call in the secondary. Could have been a defensive holding penalty that would have resulted in a first down for the Minutemen. Nonetheless, they're going to get a fresh set on 3 and 2 with 32 seconds remaining. Here's Bianchi at the 25, dropping back, has good protection. Bianchi's going to run it himself, gets around the edge, picking up the first down and more, and inside the 15-yard line, dropped near the 12. Great carry from Bianchi. As Peterson elects to take the timeout, stopping the clock at 23 seconds as the Minutemen come closer to getting their third touchdown of the first half. As Merceth lined up as a tight end, has Duncan Hewitt to his right, man in motion is Tibbles. Dropping back, here's Bianchi using his legs, firing corner of the end zone. That pass is knocked incomplete, intended for number 5, Merceth, who hobbles and shaking to get up on that play. Bringing up a 2nd and 10 for Lexington. And that was a good job defensively by the Tanners, reading that play from the start as they saw that Bianchi was going to rush to his right and try for the corner of the end zone, and not allowing anything there in the secondary. Nearly jumping off sides, Bianchi throws the fade towards the back of the end zone, and that pass is incomplete, intended for Duncan Hewitt, as that one falls up short. A little too much distance and height on that one, as high school quarterbacks are not known for their ability to throw fades towards the back of the end zone. And just 12 yards away from the red zone, here's Bianchi trying to get something going. Faces the blitz, extra pressure up the middle. That pass is fired, and it falls incomplete, intended for Merceth. And that's going to fall incomplete with 6 seconds remaining, bringing up a 4th and 10 for the Minutemen. As Hewitt's onto the field, and it looks like they're going to attempt a field goal. Interesting play call from Peterson. You don't usually see this, especially when your kicker missed an extra point earlier in the ball game, but Peterson confident in his 3-year starter at kicker to attempt this one. 25-yard field goal attempt. Good snap, good distance, and that field goal is wide left. Nowhere near it as Hewitt misses his first field goal of the season as the clock runs down. And that is the end of the half, as the Lexington Minutemen, after the field goal missed by Hewitt, leave 12-0 here at Harold Crum Field. And what was a great first quarter for the Minutemen. We saw Mason Hatfield get in the end zone and get his first rushing touchdown, and first touchdown by a running back in the last 3 to 4 games. Also, Bianchi get in the end zone early. Ends in the second quarter with no offense from either team, as the Tanners might have maybe figured out what the Minutemen have been going on offensively and what they've been so successful at. On the other side of the turf, The Minutemen's defense has been holding up strong, allowing 0 points. And both teams with the ability to get their adjustments in for the upcoming second half. We'll see you then. I'm Joe Viscioni on LexMedia Sports, and we'll see you at the start of the second half.
NFC, AFC, offensive linemen, defensive tackles, quarterbacks, and cornerbacks are all working with United Way for a million little reasons. The kids of our communities, to ensure their academic success all the way to graduation day. You see, it takes about 12 years to create a graduate, but it takes the same time to create a dropout. And the difference between a kid becoming one or the other could be a professional athlete, or it could be you. Studies showed the earlier we get to kids, the better their chances. So become a United Way volunteer reader, tutor, or mentor, and make a difference in the life of a child, for the life of that child.
Give.
Advocate.
Volunteer.
Live United. Join your favorite NFL players. Take the pledge. Go to unitedway.org.
Hello and welcome back to Lexington Minutemen football. I'm Joe Viscioni, as the Minutemen are set to kick this one off, led by Duncan Hewitt, who was 0 for 1 on extra points and on field goals, who lets this kick sail way back for a touchback. Pretty rare to see that at a high school level. Nonetheless, the Tanners offense comes onto the field without a touchdown thus far in the ball game, as quarterback Ryan Quayle hasn't had too much success, and the Tanners have been pretty unlucky, fumbling near the red zone earlier tonight and also turning the ball over on a punt return. Nonetheless, the offense will come onto the field, starting field position at the 25-yard line. Here's Quayle in a stacked formation as an extra fullback in the game towards the right of the line of scrimmage. Dropping back, extra protection, fires over to his left to an open wide receiver who slapped out of bounds near first down yardage. On the reception was to number 1, Tyler Parrish, the senior wide receiver, making his second reception of the game, and that's going to be good for first down yardage as the Tanners move the chains for the first time of the ball game. No, excuse me, for the first time of the third quarter. Nonetheless, here's Quayle dropping back again under center, firing to his left towards Parrish again. That pass this time sails incomplete over his receiver's head. Good coverage by the Minutemen, led by number 21, Matt Pusateri, who's been everywhere when it comes to defending the pass. So far has only allowed 2 receptions to go his way. With a stacked crowd in favor of the Minutemen, here is Quayle dropping back. Has the extra protection looking downfield, and that pass is dropped. Nearly completed to his receiver, who almost made the catch over his shoulder. Slamming the ground in frustration is Parrish, who nearly came up with another big yardage gain. Nonetheless, that's going to bring up a 3rd and 10 for the Tanners offense. And the Minutemen just got away with almost a game-changing like reception that very easily could have brought the Tanners to their first scoring drive of the ball game. Nonetheless, after Parrish was unable to haul it in, Quayle will get to try things yet again on 3rd down. 4-man rush. Pressured up the middle, firing. That delivers a strike, and that pass is dropped, incomplete. Great coverage by Pusateri, the slot cornerback there, jamming his receiver and reaching his hand in, stopping the pass, and that's going to force a 4th down as the special teams unit comes onto the field. So a great play for Lexington defensively as they force a quick defensive stop at the 35-yard line. Set to return this one back deep for the Minutemen is number 15, Mason Hatfield, who had a big first half, including a rushing touchdown. And that ball falls out of bounds on the punt around the 40-yard line. Had a ugly backspin. Nonetheless, the Minutemen will take over with fantastic field position here in the third quarter as Bianchi's going to jog onto the field. And this offense getting a couple words of inspiration by head coach George Peterson. He really wants to get his team on the board as they have yet to score since the first quarter, and that's been the case for the Minutemen as they have yet to score in the second quarter in the last 2 ball games. Stacked formation on the left and right, 2 receivers bunched up on either side. Bianchi has Hatfield with him. Tanner showing a blitz, flag on the field. Looks to be against the Minutemen. Let's see what the call is. So 5-yard penalty against the Minutemen. That's going to be a false start. And Lexington gets hit with 5. That's going to bring up a 1st and 15. Definitely a penalty you don't want to have if you're the Minutemen, especially on your first play of the drive. Nonetheless, the Minutemen start from the 35-yard line. Here's Bianchi with a 4-receiver set, no change. Extra linebackers in the game for the Tanners. Here's Hatfield on the carry up the right sideline, has some extra running room, and he is tackled by a plethora of Tanner tacklers despite picking up the first down. So a good 14-yard gain, 15-yard gain for the Minutemen. Results in a 2nd and 5 for Lexington. Woburn crowding the line of scrimmage, 3-man rush, fired over to Tibbles on the wide receiver screen, who gets tackled by the legs, nonetheless picking up the first down just shy of the 45-yard line. Great reception from him and run after the catch. The ball's going to be spotted at the 47 of the Tanners, getting closer towards the red zone. And a great play by Tibbles there, really showing his run after the catch ability, making a couple men miss and picking up the first down. Tibbles in motion. Here's Bianchi firing over on the screen to Hewitt this time, as Hewitt dances around and is wrapped up before picking up about 5 to 6 yards on the reception. So Lexington early trying to get their wide receivers going, giving them space to make things work, and already succeeding on that. 3 receivers stacked over to the left. Here's the handoff. And he is wrapped up behind the line of scrimmage. That was number 15, Mason Hatfield. Great tackle by the Tanners, forcing a 3rd and long rather. 3rd and 6 for Lexington. Woburn in a nickel-based formation. Here's the snap. Bianchi, he's going to run it himself with a full head of steam, diving towards the first down. Let's see where they mark him. Looks to be good for the yardage. And that's going to force a 4th and short for the Minutemen. Here's the direct snap to Bianchi. He's going to run it himself. Picks up the first down and more, as Bianchi using those legs and picking up first down yardage, moving the chains. As this Minutemen offense is reeling and dealing so far at the start of the third quarter with just 8 minutes remaining. So 3 minutes into the third quarter, and the Minutemen are set up at the 35-yard line. Here's Bianchi on the screen. Over to Hewitt. Hewitt trying to get by a man before being wrapped up for a 2-yard gain. Good tackle there made by what looked to be Thompson coming over. Here's Bianchi, has Tibbles in motion. Number 13 following him is Parrish. Bianchi's going to run it himself. Picks up a couple yards on the carry before being tackled around the 30-yard line. And it's interesting to see what his play calls are going to be here, as it seems like the last couple plays have just been give it to Hatfield, hit a couple wide receiver screens, and have Bianchi run with it. So let's see if they consider taking a shot downfield. Hatfield moving back over to the right, then left. Merceth in motion. It's late to see what the call is.
Official timeout on the field.
So, flag on the field.
Number for the 50-50 raffle.
Looks to be on the offense, if anything.
$90 this season.
I believe it's going to be on Merceth.
Ticket number 347. 9777. Once again, the number
If not,
347 9777. You have that number? Please go to the concession stand.
so it was a timeout instead. Here's Bianchi dropping back. As a back wide open, fires down the field. That pass is caught to Tibbles. Tibbles in space, and he is gone. Joe Tibbles escapes into the end zone for his first touchdown of the quarter as the Minutemen break onto the scoreboard once again with an 18-0 lead. Here are Harold Crum. What a fantastic reception and run after catch from the senior wide receiver, making his presence felt. And a great play by Tibbles there. What started as a quick out route just turned into a zigzag over to the right sideline and an easy touchdown. Here's the two-point conversion. Bianchi going nowhere, runs back right. He's going to try with his legs, diving towards the goal line, and he is marked short. So the point after attempt for the third time tonight is no good as the Minutemen sit with a 18-0 lead over the Tanners after that fantastic 30-yard touchdown reception by Joe Tibbles. So Tibbles racks up back-to-back games with a receiving touchdown. Last week he had a 14-yard touchdown against Belmont. This week he gets to the end zone yet again against the Tanners. Nonetheless, after missing their third straight point after attempt, especially on the two-point conversion, the Minutemen sit with an 18-point lead, which what could have been if their attempts went through 23. Nonetheless, 6:45 remaining. The Tanners find themselves in an 18-point hole. And this game has immense implications for both sides, as a win for the Minutemen would result in locking up second place in the division and most likely home field advantage in the playoffs, while a loss would mean Woburn would most likely steal second place and the Minutemen would drop down to third and most likely not get home field. Here's the kickoff return, and he is wrapped up, going nowhere. Great tackle made by the Minutemen surrounding the ball carrier. Tackle made in the open field. So Charles Mabardi, the junior slot corner, making the tackle, only 5'8", 140. Nonetheless, despite what the weight and height sheet says, making some plays on special teams. And that's really a department where the Minutemen have needed some production. And jogging onto the field is Quayle after yet to reach the end zone with his Tanner offense. Still plenty manageable as the score, down 18-0 with 6:39 remaining. Here's the handoff on a lot of misdirection. Carried by number 13, Stephen Coloco. The captain being wrapped up around the line of scrimmage. Who lost about a yard on the carry. As the clock continues to tick around 6 minutes. Let's see what the Tanners offense can muster up here. Potentially maybe taking a shot downfield and trying this secondary of the Minutemen that has been questionable on some plays, especially when tried downfield. Here's Quayle. Has two backs with him, extra blockers, dropping back, looking downfield once again, firing to his streaking wide receiver who drops the ball. That was intended for number 43, who's unlisted on the roster. Nonetheless, Marson breaks that one up. And what was almost a big yardage gain for the Tanners turns in to a quick 3 and out. Don't out. Here's the Tanners coming to the line of scrimmage. Quayle back in the shotgun. Dropping back, here's the handoff to his man up the middle. Great tackle behind the line of scrimmage as Thompson picks up a couple yards. Tackle made by Luke Butler, the senior linebacker, making his presence felt in the middle and forcing a 4th down as the Tanners punting unit comes on once again for what seems like double digits, as their offense has been unsuccessful throughout the entire ball game tonight. So far putting 0 points up on the board. Earlier in this game they were once. And here's the kick, falling down to about near the 50-yard line and about the 47. Decent fielding, excuse me. Nonetheless, the Minutemen take over at the Tanners' 47-yard line with great field position for Anthony Bianchi to work with, as this offense has finally started to get things going after a 0-point second quarter, connecting with Joe Tibbles on the touchdown reception earlier last drive. So welcome back after the timeout. Here's Lexington with a fresh set of downs, dropping back. Here's Bianchi with plenty of time, firing downfield to his receiver, and that pass is incomplete. Flag on the field. And the coverage of Duncan Hewitt. Hewitt drawing his what looked to be his second pass interference and penalty in the secondary of the ball game. The first one early in the first quarter was negated by a holding call against the Minutemen, which offset. This one looks to be clear against the Tanners, so let's wait to see. So pass interference, that's going to be a 15-yard penalty. No spot foul anymore in high school and college football. Here is the handoff over to his man Hatfield, who picks up a few yards on the carry. Tackle made right down the middle. Decent job by the nose tackle of the Tanners to give no running room to Hatfield, who has had quite a day when running up off the shoulder of his left and right guard. And this Minutemen offensive line has been stout so far in this game from a pass blocking and run blocking perspective. Now here's Bianchi, and trying to escape a few men. Right as I say, their offensive line has been doing a fantastic job. A couple men from the Tanners blow right by them and cause a tackle on the quarterback, forcing a 3rd and long for the Minutemen. So Linehorst making the tackle. Now here's Bianchi. 3 receivers, trips formation to the left, 1 receiver to the right. Hatfield in the backfield with Bianchi. Bianchi's going to run it himself, picking up the first down and more. As getting closer towards the red zone is Bianchi. Easily picking up the first down as the Minutemen try to get on the board for the 4th time of the night. Ball stopped just past the 15-yard line at about the 13. With just about 3 minutes remaining in the 3rd quarter, the Minutemen lead 18-0. The man in motion is Joe Tibbles, dropping back. Here's Bianchi. Plenty of time. Rolling to his right. Firing into the end zone. That pass is dropped. Incomplete, intended for Duncan Hewitt. Just slipped off his hands. And that's going to bring up a second down. And Duncan Hewitt, with a nightmare receiving game so far, has been targeted 4 times in the ball game, has only hauled in 1 reception for 11 yards. Nonetheless, Hewitt stays on the field, one of their best receiving talents, just with a bad game so far. Also good coverage on that was number 13 for the Tanners. Koloko, a name I cannot pronounce very well, stepping up and really wrapping his arms around Hewitt as he tried to come down with it. Nonetheless, here's Hatfield with the running room, and Mason Hatfield is in for his second touchdown of the ball game as the Minutemen get on the board once again. Plenty of running room by Hatfield there. Great block by the guard in the center, making a double team on the defensive tackle, and then their center climbing up to the second level, blocking one of the linebackers free. Really allowed Hatfield to get upfield and into the end zone untouched. Nonetheless, Hewitt comes on for his second extra point attempt. He missed his first and missed a field goal also, as that kick goes through the uprights as Duncan Hewitt's nightmare of a ball game ends with an extra point completed, as the Minutemen lead 25-0 here at Harold Crum. As the Woburn Tanners so far have yet to have any answer for this fired up Minutemen squad. And the Minutemen with a 25-point lead with plenty of supporters in the fan section. Fired up and in full support of this team. Especially when leading by 25, you can expect a big student body to show up and support your squad. Not as crowded as last year's playoff game, but you can expect the same down the line if the Minutemen can hold on to this game and get a high seed in the upcoming playoffs. Nonetheless, here's Duncan Hewitt on the field, set to kick this one off. Started the second half with a touchback. And set to return this one. 3 men back deep for the Tanners as Hewitt, ball popped off because the wind, which has been non-existent so far. Nonetheless, set to back this one up deep is Hewitt. Hewitt, plenty of distance. That's going to be a squib down. And the Tanners are going to let it roll out of the back of the end zone for a touchdown. Good for Hewitt's second of the ball game. And the Tanners start off. It's good to see some support for the Minutemen. There's the mascot on the field. Not sure if he has a specific name. Let's call him Lucky. Nonetheless, the Tanners start with it as Quayle is going to command his offense at the 25-yard line. 2 receivers set, extra tight end. Man in the backfield with him is Thompson. Dropping back, here's the carry over to Thompson, who wrestles for extra yards before being wrapped up past the 25-yard line and down around the 27-28. As Lexington's defensive front has done a fantastic job in this ball game so far, especially their front four, really soaping up the blockers and allowing their linebackers to come over, open up the field and make some tackles. Let's see what this Lexington defense sets up. 5-man defensive front, showing the blitz. Here's the carry by 13, Kolotko, and he's wrapped up past the 30-yard line, picking up about 2 on the carry. So with under 2 minutes remaining, close to 140 remaining in the quarter. Jogging onto the field is Quayle getting the call from his head coach, John Belcher, who has to be pretty frustrated with his offensive effort so far in this ball game, especially after a 28-7 rout over Wakefield last week. Nonetheless, here's Quayle dropping back. Pressured up by number 5, escaping to his left, going downfield, and he is tackled behind the line of scrimmage. Great tackle, slightly near the line of scrimmage. Great tackle made by the Minutemen, not allowing Quayle to escape the pocket and scramble for extra yards. So 4th and 1. Here's the carry. As it looks like the Tanners. It's going to be close. Looks like they got first down yardage. See what the referees say.
And we have a first down for Woburn.
And that is going to be marked as a first down in the end as the referees decide that one to be sufficient yardage. A couple inches away. Could have been either way. A turnover on downs or a first. Nonetheless, here's the pitch over on the right sideline, and that tackle was made across the 40. Good carry by number 2, Dylan Thompson, who's filled in nicely for senior Ryan Ludwig, who was injured in tonight's ball game. Haven't seen any of him. And that's the end of the third quarter as the Lexington Minutemen lead 25-0 over the Woburn Tanners. And what has been a fantastic ball game. I've been Joe Viscione, and we'll see you at the start of the fourth quarter.
ALS doesn't just kill you, it shuts you down. Little by little, bit by bit.
It starts small. Maybe it's holding a pencil that gets difficult.
Or getting up from your chair.
Then you find it hard to turn the pages of your book.
Because you can't move your fingers.
Your mind keeps working, but your body doesn't respond.
You won't see it coming because no one knows where it comes from.
Soon you can't hug your mother or pick up your child.
You won't be able to tie your shoes.
You don't need to tie your shoes because now you can't walk.
You can't eat or shave.
Or laugh or sing.
First you can't catch your ball, then you can't catch your breath.
ALS doesn't just kill you.
It steals your life, a little bit at a time.
And it doesn't stop until there's nothing left.
Unless we stop it first. Unless we stop it now.
I'm James Gleason. Let's put our heads together and find a cure for ALS.
And welcome back to the start of the fourth quarter as the ball is at the Woburn 41-yard line as the Tanners are trying to get on the scoreboard for the first time in the ball game. Here's Quayle dropping back, flag on the field, and that pass looks to be caught. What a fantastic catch made, getting over his cornerback and just stealing that. That's pure physical traits right there, folks. But let's see what the flag is. So ball's incomplete as the referee is going to call a holding against the offense. That's going to be a 10-yard penalty. So after the near completion on what was a spectacular catch, the Tanners start out with a 2nd and 14.
It'll be second down and 14.
Three-man defensive front for the Minutemen as looks like we have some confusion on the field. Looks like the referee's trying to get the time right or something. As both teams break the huddle, the Minutemen with a three-man defensive front, you can expect a slot corner blitz maybe on the right side. Four-man rush at the end. Here's Quayle looking downfield, nearly wrapped up from the ankles, and that pass sails incomplete, falling into the hands of his offensive coordinator. And that's going to bring up a third down for the Tanners. Great downfield coverage by the Minutemen, allowing Quayle nowhere to go. And that's especially so tough to defend when you have a quarterback that's capable of scrambling like Quayle. Without a big completion here today, it's interesting to see what the Tanners will do on this drive. Quayle has Thompson back with him in the pocket, looking downfield on a deep ball, and that pass is hauled in for the first time, escaping into the secondary and dropped near the 10-yard line. What a fantastic reception by Tyler Parrish, beating his man downfield, Jack Marson, and picking up the first down right near the red zone. And the Tanners finally finding success on the deep ball as they're going to take over at the 5-yard line. Now, the last time the Tanners had the ball at this field position, they fumbled the ball at around the 2-yard line. Hopefully, let's see if they can learn from their mistakes. And if you're just tuning into this game, the Lexington Minutemen currently lead 25-0 over their guests, the Woburn Tanners, here at Harold Crum Field with 9 minutes remaining as Quayle is knocking on the door. Rolling to his right. That pass is caught by number 82 for an easy touchdown as Woburn gets on the board for the first time of the ball game, courtesy of McLaughlin. Dylan McLaughlin, the sophomore wide receiver, making the reception as they put up 6 on the scoreboard as the Minutemen led up their first touchdown in the last 3 quarters. And it seemed like blown coverage there as McLaughlin made a good double move towards the red zone and just freed himself up towards the right corner. And it was very easy for Quayle to deliver from there. As the extra point has plenty of leg and power, that kick could have been good from about 30 or 40 yards away, as the extra point is good. As the Minutemen lead gets cut down to 18, as they sit atop over the Tanners 25-7, here with just under 9 minutes remaining in the quarter. And what once was looking to be a blowout, now the Tanners get on the board for the first time of the ball game and make it a contest. And one man set back to return this one for the Minutemen, number 21, Matt Pusateri, who's had a great game in the secondary. Unfortunately, he was beat deep on that last completion by Parrish. Nonetheless, he's going to get another chance to return this one deep for the first time since the first half. (36) Ayub Esowabin set to kick this one off. And a high end-over-end kick for Esowabin sets Pusateri as that ball was going to fall all the way back for a touchback, as the Minutemen are going to get starting field position from their own 25-yard line, trying to close this game out. After giving up their only touchdown of the game and jogging onto the field is number 7, Anthony Bianchi, who's done everything right in this ball game. Who's had a fantastic day. In other games around the league, I spoke about this a little bit at halftime. Everett versus Malden is a game that is always highly touted. This year, Everett 6-0 and Malden 0-6. Malden elected to forfeit that ball game because they were worried of losing that badly, so they will go 0-7 Malden is the only team in their division to they have allowed double digits and lost by 35 plus points in every game this season. So maybe an elective of forfeit was a right decision by Malden. Nonetheless, a timeout is on the field. And after the end of the timeout, here's Bianchi after picking up 5 yards on the carry. That's going to bring up a 2nd and 1. Dropping back, it's Bianchi. Pitches it over to his man Hatfield. Hatfield with a head of steam into the secondary and dragged out by the jersey by number 84, Alec Cruz in the secondary. Stopping the clock at 8:37. Nonetheless, the Minutemen pick up a first down at their own 45-yard line. Here's Bianchi, 4-receiver set. Dropping back, runs it himself up the middle, bounces back outside. Bianchi, first down and more, and he is down at the 40, but a flag is on the field. Pushed out shy. Let's see what it's going to be. Looks to be against the offense as it was thrown near the offensive line. Most likely going to be a holding penalty against the big boys in the trenches. Referee's trying to confirm this one. And I think he's saying it to the wrong side of the field. Turning his back towards the booth and everyone up here. Looks like multiple penalties here. What a disorganization. So the referee walked the wrong way, and that's a holding penalty, which was declined in a personal foul against the Minutemen. Their second of the ball game is picked up. That's going to be a 15-yard penalty and bring up a first and very long, 25 yards. Here's Bianchi. Hatfield now lined up as a wide receiver to his right. 5-receiver set. Hatfield back in motion behind him. Bianchi's going to carry it himself. Pushes back out to the right sideline, and he is wrapped up before picking up about a yard on the carry by a plethora of Tanners swooping over to make the tackle. As time continues to tick off the clock, the Minutemen facing a 2nd and 25. It'll be interesting to see what Peterson comes up with here to try to make this a 3rd and manageable after the next play. Here's Bianchi. 3 receivers to the left and 1 to the right. Gonna run to his left, surveying the field. He's gonna take it himself. Bianchi picking up good yardage on the carry, about 8 or 9 yards before being wrapped up from his right side. And that's going to bring up a 3rd and 12 for the Minutemen. Here's Bianchi dropping back, looking downfield, fires. That pass is caught by Hewitt. Hewitt out of bounds near the 46-yard line, 45-yard line as he looks to pick up the first down. And Hewitt on his 2nd reception of the ball game picks up a first down when the Minutemen really needed it, as the clock continues to tick and rumble down below 7 minutes. And Lexington trying to take as much time as they can off the scoreboard as Hatfield drops back in as a slot receiver and Tibbles over to the right of him. Man in motion is Tibbles. Here's Bianchi, fires over to Hatfield on the screen. Hatfield picking up about 4 to 5 yards on the carry before being wrapped up by the Tanners near the center part of the field.
3-yard gain, 2nd down and 7.
And that's going to force a 2nd and 7 as the Minutemen offense continues to do whatever they can to take time off the clock. Trips formation in the slot to the right of Bianchi, one receiver lone to the left. As the clock continues to tick near 5 here in Lexington. Bianchi drops back, hands it off over to Hatfield on the pitch. Hatfield with an extra corral of blockers, and he's wrapped up shy of the 30 across the 35-yard line, but a flag is on the field. Tackle made by Alex Crew. Nonetheless, let's see what the call is. It's going to be a 10-yard holding penalty against the Minutemen, and that's going to force a 2nd and 17, I believe, after the yardage. As this Lexington offensive line has not had that great of a day when it comes to run blocking, especially getting called a lot on these holding penalties. I believe that one was on the right guard. Here's Bianchi, 4 receiver set once again. No change there. Dropping back, looking downfield. Bianchi fires. That pass is incomplete, nearly into the hands of his intended receiver, Joe Tibbles. And that's going to force a 3rd and long for the Minutemen with under 5 minutes remaining in the 4th quarter. And if you're just tuning into this game, the Minutemen lead 25-7 over the Woburn Tanners here, facing a 3rd and 14. And here's Bianchi in the shotgun. Woburn showing an extra defensive front. 4-man rush. 1-man spine the quarterback. Firing over on the screen. Beautifully set up to Hatfield. Hatfield with plenty of running room. Going outside. Mason Hatfield into the secondary and forced out of bounds across the 10-yard line down near the 5. What a great play by Peterson, drawing that one up, allowing Hatfield to really escape, as the Minutemen with that first down might have well just clinched it. So after the screen by Hatfield, what a great block also to mention on the outside by number 75, Case Cronin, the senior and captain offensive tackle on the left side, really sealing off the lane and allowing Hatfield to turn up the jets and get upfield. Here's Bianchi. Bianchi dropping back. He's going to run it himself. Bianchi pushing it outside, and he is wrapped up in bounds as the clock continues to tick, dropping below 4 minutes. And just a quick shout out to everyone that's been running camera, and also Terry behind the sound booth or whatever you call it. Thanks to everyone setting this broadcast up. Nonetheless, here's Bianchi getting his play call from George Peterson, who has to be pretty happy with his team's effort. Nonetheless, might be trying to get into the end zone one more time in a few minutes. As some head coaches drip down, here's Bianchi on the carry. And he is in for the touchdown as Lexington strikes once again with few applause. And the Minutemen get into the end zone for the 5th time of the ball game, and what could be a 25-point lead pending Hewitt's extra point attempt. Hewitt throwing off that knee brace on the knee where he just injured it and had surgery last week. That extra point is good. His 2nd straight extra point attempt that was completed. And that's going to make the score 32-7 in what looks to be a blowout victory by the Lexington Minutemen. And the Minutemen could certainly use a victory in this week, as we spoke about it. A win here clinches home field advantage and the second seed in the Freedom Division. While on the other side, the Woburn Tanners picking up this loss here could very well drop down to around the 4 seed, and there's a chance we could see the Tanners coming to play football here in a week or two. As the Minutemen would hold on to the 2 seed, no one would surpass Reading Memorial, who is undefeated in the division. After tonight, will most likely be going 7-0 as they faced the Winchester Sachems, who were 4-2. And Reading Memorial beat the Lexington Minutemen 19-14 3 weeks ago. However, the Minutemen have responded very well this year, going on a 3-game winning streak, which will now be pushed to 4, looking for their 5th win of the season. Now here's Hewitt on the squib. That takes a nasty bounce down to about the 10-yard line, just picked up by the Tanners as they're chased out of bounds across the 15-yard line. As a couple special teams errors force the Tanners into a tough territory, as their offense has nowhere to start out. So starting from their own 18-yard line is Quayle, who was yet to have that large of a game as many predicted him to. Led by head coach John Belcher, here's Woburn to try to get one more touchdown to make the score a little bit more respectable. Now Lexington loading up the line of scrimmage here. Here's Quayle dropping back. He's going to give it over to his man number 2 on the carry. That's Thompson, and he's tackled just past the 25-yard line. Pointing at the breast cancer awareness ribbon and picking up good for first down yardage despite what looks to be a loss. Thompson has had a pretty great game for the Tanners. Now here's the carry. Thompson yet again, and Thompson is wrapped up behind the line of scrimmage. Great tackle made by the Minutemen, led by their defensive tackle number 66, Zhao Z, forcing the pressure and allowing his linebackers to swoop over and make the tackle, led by number 65, Johnny Backman. And this defensive front is something you really don't want to mess with. A major strength for this team. Now dropping back. Here's Quayle. Quayle feels the rush, and Quayle is dropped. Great pressure by Matt Pusateri on the corner blitz. And number 65, Johnny Bachman, picking up his 2nd sack of the ball game. What a fantastic job on the pressure, and a great defensive scheme plan there, drawn up by Peterson and his assistant coaches. Eric Fulgman, the defensive coordinator there, coming up with the interesting strategy on the corner zone blitz. Now here's the carry. Quayle's going to run it himself up the left sideline. Quayle takes a big hit from Duncan Hewitt, lowering the shoulder and showing his strength. And what would easily be flagged in NFL football, lowering the helmet and making the hit, was Hewitt, forcing a 4th and long. Huh. What a thumper. Jeez. If that was the NFL, he lowered his helmet. And after the hit, leading with the helmet by Hewitt, nonetheless, That's going to force another punt by the Tanners. With just under a minute remaining in the ball game, the Tanners trying to avoid an embarrassing loss. Punt is nearly blocked and plenty of distance, is going to be dropped at around the 50, now rolling down to the 49-yard line of Woburn, as the Minutemen are most likely just going to kneel this one down and put an end to the ball game. Now next week would be the start of the MIAA football playoffs. However, there is no current bracket and schedule out yet, as this week will have a lot of decision making to do for the whole bracket. The only game that's on further schedule is the annual Thanksgiving Day game against Burlington, as Bianchi takes the knee. Last year, Lexington beat Burlington by a pretty wide score of what was 4 scores. Nonetheless, the Minutemen walk away with a victory here at Harold Crum Field, a convincing one for that matter. It didn't seem like it at times. Nonetheless, the final score is 32-7 here in Lexington, as the Minutemen have to be happy with their efforts here against the Tanners. And what was rough in the first half, the Tanners held the Minutemen to only 12 first half points, and after that, the Minutemen really took over, scoring 20 second half points and really ending this game. Nonetheless, that's your coverage of Lexington Minutemen football. I've been Joe Viscioni covering Minutemen Friday Night Football here for LexMedia Sports, and we will see you next time.